probably don't need to. Okay. So it is live. Cool. Here we are. Okay. So it is live. It's really late. We'll see if anybody pops in. Whew. I don't know if I should actually do this or if I should just get to work. But I should probably just get rid of this because... Alright, you know what? I'm just going to clarify to anybody. Maybe I should just change it real quick. There we go. I guess let's get to
I was
it.
recently reminded of a brain teaser that used to boggle my mind.
Don't just tease my brain, Captain. Really go to town on it.
Yeah.
But when I heard it again, the answer was so obvious to me. It goes like this, or some variation of this. 3 traveling salesmen approach a motel at the same time, and one of them suggests that to save money, they all share a room. They agree to this and go into the office to book their room. The clerk tells them that it will be $30 for the night, so they each pay him $10. The men go to their room, then the manager of the hotel comes out of his office and asks the clerk how much he charged them. The clerk said the standard $30. But the manager gets upset and says, no, there's a special right now that I keep telling you about. The rooms are only $25. So they are owed $5 and change. But on his way to give them the change, he realizes that the math will be hard, and the easiest way to give them the change is he'll just give them each $1 and then he'll pocket the other $2. So each man gets $1 back, meaning that they now have each paid $9 for the room. So in total, they paid $27 for the room. Plus the $2 in the clerk's pocket, meaning they paid $29 for the room. But if the room was originally $30, then where did that other dollar go? What is happening here? How are we missing a dollar? I used to lose sleep over this problem. But this time I heard it, I realized right away that this is just a classic misdirect.
Classic misdirection.
You know, like magicians use, or how cons like the shell game work. It's changing your focus from what is actually happening and making you look at the wrong part of the problem. When you're saying it was $27 that the men paid plus the $2 in the clerk's pocket, you are made to believe that this amount is supposed to add up to the original price of the room, which it doesn't. But it shouldn't, because it has nothing to do with that $30 anymore. Rather, it has to do with the change that they were owed, which is a different amount. So really what they should be saying is that they paid $27, but the total was $25, so they are now owed $2 in change. That original $30 does not matter at that point. And I wondered why, after hearing it again, I got that so quickly this time. when in my youth I was so confused. Maybe it's because I did figure out the solution way back when and I just forgot about it. Or maybe I got smarter over time. Or maybe because of all the Christian arguments I hear all the time and all the apologetics I have to deal with all the time, I'm way more used to misdirection. Hey everybody, thank you so much for liking and subscribing and commenting and all the other awesome stuff you do because you're great people and I love you all. I put the links down below for the social media as well as the merch and the Patreon and all the other cool stuff. And if you want, you can go down there, click it. I don't know. I'm just one man. Quite often when I make a video, I'll get comments saying that, well, that still doesn't disprove the existence of God. It could be a video about why I don't think youth pastors should touch kids, or about the dangers of purity culture, or why mission trips are bad. But someone will pop up and say, yeah, well, that still doesn't disprove God.
You can't disprove it.
Like that has anything to do with what we were talking about. I think a lot of this has to do with a misunderstanding of what it is I do here.
What would you say you do here?
A lot of people seem to believe that the entire point of this channel is to debunk Christianity, which is not now and has never been the point of this channel. There are multiple reasons I do what I do. I want to let people know who have left or are thinking about leaving their faith that they are okay, that they aren't bad people for having questions or for no longer believing. I do want to call out harm that churches do and that clergy members do, partially so I can do my part to help stop further pain in the future, but also to let people who have been hurt by churches know that their feelings are valid and that they aren't the only ones. And yes, I do talk about theology sometimes and why the Bible makes no sense, but that is more about helping people with religious trauma. Because when you can step back and look at this theology and look at this religion and see how silly it is after you have been hurt by it, it can help with the healing process. It's like when a kid sees a scary movie and can't sleep, so...
Welcome. Kill your egg growers? I don't know, man. Welcome. Thanks for joining me. I did not expect anybody to actually join. How familiar are you with me and my content? Egregores. Alright, cool. You dropped in as I was like looking at my phone, so I didn't quite catch you initially. Yeah, Trevor. I discovered Trevor like a few months ago, and I started just like binging Trevor's videos, and I actually was in the middle of creating a response video, but just never have the time to like get around to editing or anything like that. So, or not really a response, a reaction video. I don't really do responses. Like I actually end up agreeing with a lot of the points that he covers. Oh, cool. All right. Great. Yeah, I approve of your username. I am curious though, how familiar are you with my content? Because I might have I want to know how much I should probably like level your expectations, because coming into this live where I'm not the kind of Christian that most people would think of when they think of Christians, but I do feel like I have a solid argument for why I qualify as a Christian, a biblical argument. But yeah, I'm curious. Have you watched some of my other videos, like maybe my shorts or my reaction to the Satan's Guide to the Bible video? because if you've watched that one, then you probably have a pretty good idea of what to expect, and I probably don't need to go into details about my whole shtick. Yeah, I really appreciate you coming in. I'll be looking so that I'm not just kind of sitting here waiting. I'll start playing it, but I'll look over at the comments here and there.
So the parents show them how movies work and show them that that monster was just special effects or just a puppet as a way to help them stop feeling so scared. It's about taking away its power. It's about taking away its hold on us. I understand that some Christians do watch the channel, but I'm not really making it for them. I'm okay with Christians watching the channel and wrestling with what I'm saying, but it's not the reason I do it. I'm not a debater. I don't care about owning or poning. Do people still say poning? I don't care about owning anyone or burning anyone. And I'm not out here trying to disprove any God. And I would understand if someone pointed out that my video didn't disprove God. If the name of the video or a stated goal of the video was something that implied that that's what was going to happen. But I think the reason for that comment, why people say that still doesn't disprove God, isn't because they thought that that's what I was trying to do, but because it's a classic misdirect.
What do you use for misdirection?
Misdirection?
Yeah, I mean, if you're so good at magic, what do you have them looking at to divert their attention?
It's the same reason they'll say...
One moment. Hi. Do I have the keys? Yeah. Are you doing some work?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought I was tired and then I got a second time. So, are you about done?
Yeah, I'll probably be done soon. That was my wife. Gotcha. One moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, my whole thing with Christianity is the reason, okay, I don't know where to start. So I guess I'll start with this. My understanding of like what it takes to qualify as a Christian or to like identify as a Christian, I don't feel like it's a necessary thing. Yeah, we'll see. Um, we'll see if we get anybody else in here, but it is what it is. But yeah, my whole thing is like when it comes to the Bible, we're given very like distinct, a very distinct definition of like what salvation is from Jesus himself, and basically that is believe in Jesus and be baptized, and then he later insinuates like that he'll handle the baptism part. So basically, all we're left with is believe in Jesus. But if you look at that from a surface level and you don't like do any digging, it sounds like it's just okay, just assert that Jesus is true, that everything about that is correct and absolute. But if you actually do a little bit of digging and do like a word study into the Bible, you find that the biblical meaning of the word believe is not anything about like being absolute or asserting absolutes. It's more about placing trust or confidence in something. And so if we're placing trust or confidence in Jesus, what does that mean? Is it what's important there? Is it the name Jesus? Well, he probably wasn't called Jesus. He was probably referred to as Yeshua, or I've heard other things, but it's probably not important the name. So then what does Jesus represent? Well, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. So if we seek what is true, and we seek what brings life, and we trust that in that journey we will grow closer to those things, then we are trusting the essence of what Jesus is, the way, the truth, and the life. And it doesn't matter if you believe Jesus was God, it doesn't matter if you believe in God, it doesn't matter if you believe that the world was created, or what you call yourself. If you are seeking what is true, and that which brings life, and you're trusting that you will grow closer to those things by doing so, biblically speaking, you are saved. That's my whole argument there. So that's why I feel like I can qualify as a Christian, because that's what I do. But I don't feel like the label is necessary for salvation. Like, you don't have to identify as a Christian to be saved. Yeah, and that's another thing I feel, and I actually, that's another thing I feel like the Bible has real life-bringing truths in it, but I feel like it's kind of like a tree that bears both pristine, like really life-bringing fruits, but also some that are rotten and bring a lot of harm. And that might be the Bible itself. It might be just the way humans interact with it, which if a tree falls in the forest, does it make a sound? Like, if there's a Bible and there's no one around to interpret it, does it actually have anything to say? So you can't really get away from the rot that humans might bring to the way they interpret and apply the Bible. So it doesn't necessarily exist in that vacuum with any kind of meaning. So yeah, I think that there's good in the Bible, and that should be recognized and celebrated, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we should fail to recognize our own limits and fallibility in our ability to discern what is divinely authoritative and what is not. Anyways, I don't think I'm going to be streaming for much longer, unfortunately. I think my wife's wanting me to come join her and be more present with her. I thought she was sleeping at this point, so. Right. Yeah, there's some things in the Bible that are just frankly messed up. And when you grow up in that space, you kind of turn your eyes off to it, or your ears off to it, or you start to just assume that there's a good explanation for every messed up thing in the Bible. And if you make that assumption and you go looking for a good excuse or a good reason for all the messed up things, if you try hard enough, you can find it. But it's kind of interesting how you can then take that skill and apply it just about anywhere else. Most people don't, but you develop that skill and you can suddenly start to justify just about anything. And suddenly it starts to make sense why Christians commit so many atrocities throughout history, because we get really good at justifying terrible stuff. Anyways. I'll probably be streaming more tomorrow. I'll like take an hour break from my work, and I'll stream for a bit. And if anybody decides to donate money, then I'll stream for longer. Basically, I'm going back and forth between some task-based work that pays a sum of money, and if I get paid via streaming, then I don't have to go and do a task to get paid, so I can stream for a little bit longer. But if I don't get paid within that hour, then I'll end the stream in an hour tomorrow, and yeah, I'll work for a while until I take another break, and then I might stream again. So it'll be intermittent throughout the day tomorrow. So hopefully you might be available to join me at some point. Interesting. I'll look into what that means. All right. Well, I probably should step away, but thanks for joining me for a brief bit. Thanks. That'd be neat. Who knows? Fare thee well. Let's see. How do I? Here we go.